Hi, Storytime kiddos. It's Miss Stacy. Today I thought we would do pancake story time. And if you're watching this in the morning, maybe after we get through our books, maybe you guys could have some pancakes for breakfast. Our favorite time to have pancakes is for dinner. So maybe you could be helper bees and help your mom or your dad make pancakes. Now, the really great thing about pancakes is real maple syrup. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And the first book that I have for you is Mr. Wolf's Pancakes. And I think you'll recognize some of the characters in here from stories that you guys know. So this is Mr. Wolf's Pancakes. One day, Mr. Wolf was feeling hungry. He decided to make some pancakes. He said, licking his lips at the thought of a big pile of fresh, delicious pancakes. Mr. Wolf had never made pancakes before, so he took his big recipe book down off the shelf and looked inside. But wolves can't read very well, and Mr. Wolf had trouble understanding it. So he went to get some help from his neighbors. He's got the book upside down, you guys. He's going to be a long time reading that, isn't he? He called on Chicken Little, who lived next door. "Can you please help me read this?" he asked. "No," said Chicken Little, slamming the door in Mr. Wolf's face. Bang! "Oh, dear," sighed Mr. Wolf. He sat down, slowly read the book, and worked out what he needed all by himself. And sometimes you've got to do that, don't you? You have to work it out and work hard, like you should be working on your schoolwork. You guys can do it. I know you can. Just take your time. You'll do a great job. Mr. Wolf looked in his cupboard for the ingredients, but he couldn't find anything he needed. "I'll go to the store," he decided, and he settled down to write a list. But wolves aren't very good at writing, so Mr. Wolf called on Wee Willie Winkle. "You're very clever," said Mr. Wolf. "Could you help me write my shopping list, please?" "No," said Wee Willie Winkle. "Go away!" And he slammed the door. Bang! "There's no need to be like that," said Mr. Wolf quietly. Mr. Wolf sat down and worked very hard at his writing until he had made a shopping list all by himself. Now he needed to count his money to make sure he had enough. But wolves aren't very good at counting. So he went to the gingerbread man for some help. "Can you help me count my money, please?" he asked politely. "No, I'm too busy to bother with you," said the gingerbread man, slamming his door. Bang! Rude. So poor Mr. Wolf had to sit down and count his money. It took him a long time. But he had to check it 3 times before it was right. But he did it all by himself. Mr. Wolf needed a basket to carry his groceries, so he called on, you guys know who that probably is? Little Red Riding Hood. "May I please borrow your basket?" he asked very nicely. "I'm not lending my basket to you," said Little Red Riding Hood. "Get out of here!" So Mr. Wolf set off to the store without a basket. "I'll manage," he said. Oh, poor Mr. Wolf, and he's been asking so politely. Mr. Wolf went to the store. He looked at his list, remembered what he needed, counted out his money, and carried the eggs, milk, and flour home, all by himself. Now it was time to make the pancakes. But wolves aren't very good at cooking. So who do you think he asked? Can you guys see? So Mr. Wolf called on the three little pigs. Can you please help me cook my pancakes? I'll share them with you, he said kindly. Forget about it, chorused the pigs, slamming their doors. Bang, bang, bang. Mr. Wolf felt sad because nobody wanted to help him. That would make me feel sad too. I hope that you guys are being helper bees while you're home. Mr. Wolf went home and started to make the pancakes all by himself. Soon there was a huge pile of delicious pancakes on the table, all ready for eating. Ooh, look at that. Now, as the wolf had been making his pancakes, a lovely smell had drifted out of the kitchen. All his neighbors could smell it, and it made them feel very hungry. They wanted some pancakes too. They decided to try their luck. You think he's going to share his pancakes? His neighbors weren't very nice, were they? You should share them anyway, though. We'll see what happens. So they knocked on Mr. Wolf's door. Give us some of your pancakes, said the rude bunch. Why should I give any to you, said Mr. Wolf. Not one of you would help me. We'll help you eat them, replied Mr. Wolf's neighbors nastily. Anyway, we're not going away till you give us some. Mr. Wolf thought very hard for a moment. There was only one decent thing to do. Oh, very well then, he sighed. You'd better come in. Mr. Wolf opened the door wide and whoosh, his greedy neighbors rudely pushed him aside and dashed down the hall. Mr. Wolf shook his head, shrugged his shoulders, followed them into the kitchen, and when they were all in, what do you think happened? Mr. Wolf gobbled them up, snippity-snappity, and that was the end of his unhelpful neighbors. Did you guys see that coming? I didn't see it coming. And then, with his bulging stomach still not full, Mr. Wolf sat down to eat his pile of pancakes. And he did it all by himself. Well, then there was nobody around. How about that, you guys? So, I've got one more book for you. This is From Maple Tree to Syrup. And this is a non-fiction book. This means that it is true. And I'm not going to read all of it to you, but just these highlights. And then I've got a tall tale book to read to you. The workers plant the trees. These are sugar maple trees. We have those around here, right? The trees grow. Workers drill holes. They drill some holes in there to get the sap. You put these spouts in there, and that looks like a drop of water, doesn't it? But that is sweet, sweet sap that they're taking out of the trees. Workers hang buckets, and sometimes if you look around here, sometimes instead of these buckets, I've seen just big plastic bags lately. And sometimes you see big tubes running from tree to tree that go into a big container. Our season's up right now, but the buckets are emptied. The barrels are taken away to a sugar house, and then the sap is heated, and it's boiled down and boiled down. And then the maple syrup is poured into bottles. And then guess what? Oh yeah, time to eat. And you get real maple syrup on your pancakes that we just talked about. All right, so the first one, Mr. Pancakes had a lot of fairy tale characters in it, didn't it? We recognized a lot of those from stories that we've heard before, and this one is in the tall tales category, and this is called Pancakes for Supper. Okay, so once upon a morning in a March wood, a solitary wagon splashed along the mud road toward the town of Whisker Creek. Winter was almost gone, but it had left snowy footprints on the land. Mama and Papa guided the horses while Toby sat in the back and made up a song to the rhythm of the bouncing wagon. I've got a sky blue coat with purple lining, a sun yellow sweater with green leaves twining, thick orange mittens with a matching cap, buck hide boots to keep out the damp, fuzzy red long johns and a dress of brown, brand new clothes for Whisker Creek town. Remember all those things that she just sang about, all her clothes that she was wearing. Suddenly, the wagon hit a big bump and sent Toby flying. Oh boy, look at her go. Up she sailed, higher and higher and higher, past squirrels in the branches, past soaring eagles and feathery clouds, until she could no longer see her parents' wagon. Just then, as Toby was wondering if she would ever come down again, she began to fall. Down, down, down she tumbled until finally she landed, sploosh, in a deep, soft pile of snow. But right in front of her stood a huge wolf with terrible green eyes. The wolf paced around Toby in a circle, closer and closer. Hungry, growled the wolf. So hungry am I will feast on the child who falls from the sky. Wolves were just so hungry. Oh, please don't eat me, cried Toby, and I will make you the grandest animal of the forest. A small girl like you? Ha! What can you do? Growled the wolf. I will give you my beautiful blue coat with the purple lining. The wolf's eyes gleamed fiercely as it put on Toby's coat and strutted off, calling, Now I'm the grandest beast, west or east. It does look pretty snazzy, you guys. Toby ran off as fast as she could, but just as she reached the crest of a hill, she found herself face to face with a cougar. Rawr! The cougar roared. Kit's in the den waiting to eat. My kitties would love a girl so sweet. Oh, please don't eat me, Toby cried as the cougar crouched to spring. I will make you the grandest animal in the forest. I thought that's what she told the wolf. A small girl like you? Ha! What can you do? Roared the cougar. I will give you my beautiful yellow sweater, said Toby. The cougar gloated triumphantly as it strutted off in Toby's sweater, roaring, Now I'm the grandest beast, west or east. Toby shivered without her warm coat and sweater and peered fearfully into the woods as she ran on. How would she ever find her parents now? In her hurry, Toby didn't notice a furry, white-striped animal crawling through the shadows, but it noticed her, for just then she heard a whispered snarl. Come to play? Go away. Plan to stay? Go away, or I'll spray. Toby as she could, but the skunk was already raising its tail, aiming straight at her. Oh, Toby's in trouble. Oh, please don't spray me, cried Toby, and I will make you the grandest animal in the forest. A small girl like you? Pshaw, what can you do? Snarled the skunk. I will give you my beautiful buck-hide boots, said Toby. The skunk waddled over to put the boots on its muddy front paws and strutted away, whispering, "Now I'm the grandest beast, west or east." Toby ran off holding her nose until suddenly, who do you think she's going to meet now? She's met a wolf, a cougar, and a skunk. What else could live in the forest? Do you guys have any ideas? What do you think? What do you think? What is that? A porcupine jumped right in front of her, threatening her with its long, sharp quills. "Approach me if you dare, but beware if you try to pull my hair. Beware! You haven't got a prayer if you touch me anywhere, so beware!" We don't see very many of those around here, do we? "Oh, don't strike me with your quills," said Toby, "and I will make you the grandest animal in the forest." "A small girl like you? Ha! What can you do?" "I will give you my beautiful brown dress," said Toby. A minute later, the porcupine shambled off wearing Toby's dress, bristling and crying, "Now I'm the grandest beast, west or east." Poor Toby. Look at her. She's got to be getting chilly. Now, the only clothes Toby had on were her red long johns, her orange mittens, and her hat. She had just sat down to rub her frozen toes when a fierce growl arose behind her. There stood a bear, half as tall as a tree, and it drooled hungrily as it grunted, "Girl for dinner, crunchy, good, roasted on a stack of wood. Or should I stew her? Yes, I should. Young, but eat, crunchy fingers, crunchy feet, dipped in honey, very sweet." Oh my gracious, you guys. "Oh, please don't eat me, and I will make you the grandest animal in the forest," cried Toby. "What can you do, little tasty in the stew?" "I will give you my beautiful orange mittens," said Toby. But the bear only laughed and came closer. "What good would that do? I've got 4 paws, not 2. Toby thought fast. "You can wear them on your ears," she told the bear. A minute later, the bear lumbered off, wearing Toby's mittens on its ears and thundering, "Now I'm the grandest beast." Toby hurried off, rubbing her cold fingers, but she hadn't gone far when she heard a tremendous uproar. "Oh no," thought Toby, "the animals are all coming back to eat me," and she scurried up the nearest tree to hide. Soon the wolf, cougar, skunk, porcupine, and bear appeared, growling, hissing and howling, yipping and yowling, and arguing over which of them was the grandest. The animals grew so angry that they began to chase each other. All their fine new clothes fell off as they ran. They caught hold of each other's tails and raced around the trunk of the huge maple tree. Soon they were spinning so fast that Toby couldn't tell which animal was which. Round and round the animals whirled, faster and faster, until at last they melted into a great golden brown puddle at the base of the trunk. What do you guys think that golden brown puddle is? We've been talking about it this story time. As soon as she was sure the animals were gone for good, Toby ran to put on her clothes. Then she heard her mother and father calling her and caught sight of their wagon through the trees. Everyone shouted joyfully as Toby ran out to meet them. Aww. While Toby told them of her adventures, the sun rose high and warmed the trunk of the maple tree where the animals had disappeared. The tree began to stir with life after its long winter sleep and soaked up the golden brown puddle from root to branch. A woodpecker tapped holes in the bark, and sweet maple syrup began to trickle down. "Pancakes for supper," shouted Toby, and she held a shiny tin bucket to collect the syrup. We'll have the grandest feast, west or east, said Papa, and he built a fire in the clearing while Mama mixed batter in a bowl. Now, when we read our nonfiction book, maple syrup doesn't come out of the tree, but maple sap does, and then you have to boil it down to get syrup, right? Mama fried pancakes as golden as the fur on the cougar, while the hot maple syrup Toby poured over them was as glossy brown as the bear's coat. But not one single pancake was as tough as a wolf, prickly as a porcupine, or smelly as a skunk. Papa ate 27 pancakes, Mama ate 55, but Toby ate 169 because she was so hungry. For you're the bravest girl in the world, said Mama and Papa together. And Toby drove the horses all the way to Whiskered Creek. I hope you guys liked those stories. I thought they were pretty neat. And if you guys make some pancakes, will you eat one for me? I'd like that very much. All right, let's do our closing. Tickle the stars, tickle your toes, turn around and tickle your nose. Reach way down low, reach way up high. Story time's over, so wave bye-bye. I'll see you guys next week.